Hello and welcome to my latest weekly video news from Madison's. I'm so sorry I didn't get one out last week. I had a hospital appointment with one of my children. I record it every Tuesday morning. I had to go to London. It completely threw me. So I'm so sorry. So a bit of a general roundup of what's going on. Well, of course, many people disappointed that the Bank of England did not cut base rate last week. It was expected that it possibly would go from 5.25 down to 5%. But it's services inflation that is remaining stubbornly high, which meant that they decided, similar sort of majority to previous votes, not to make a change to base rate. What I mean by services is your cost of your utilities, gas, energy, etc., and the cost of living prices still keeping those quite high. So they were expected to get to about 5.5% inflation around that, but it only got to it stayed high at 5.7. Economists don't feel that the services inflation rate will actually come down below 5%, which is the government's target, until probably next year. So that begs the question of what will happen to base rate if that is what they continue to focus on. And I think their hand might be forced. We'll obviously wait to see what's going to happen next week with a certain election. If Labour get on, they might be concerned about inflation worsening a little bit, and that affecting what will happen to the Bank of England rate. But also in November, of course, we have the US election, and depending on the result there, it could cause real market volatility, which would mean the pound would strengthen against the sterling, and they might have to take some action there as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens as these events unfold. They're certainly playing their cards close to their chest at the moment, and meaning that base rate is still stuck at 5.25%. But interestingly, the mortgage market is incredibly volatile. Rates are changing all the time. I used to, in a previous world, work for Barclays Capital, BZW as they were known. It was part of my graduate program that I was on. And I used to sit in the room sometimes where they priced their swap rates. That's the rate that banks lend to each other. Now, I'm going back a good few years here, about 25, 26 years ago now, that I was doing that particular role. Loved it. It's what gave me my love in economy. And hence, when I did my second degree, I majored in economics. It's a real passion of mine, as you can probably tell. But anyway, the swap rates then and the margins that the banks would earn were typically between 1 to 1.5%. So they would earn decent margin on lending into bank. Now that margin sits at closer to 0.3. And it's because of those really, really tight margins that means that you get this volatility in the mortgage rate. They're working on such tiny percentage points. They have to stay really in tune with all the headlines that are going on, all the economic environment, political environment, fiscal environment, and really manage their swap rates to make sure that they still make money, which is of course what the banks want to do. They want to flow money in for their mortgages, but still be profitable. So yes, that is causing pressure for mortgage payments and volatility around there. And first-time buyers, they clearly are the lifeblood of the housing market. And there's lots of calls, certainly Rightmove put out a call saying, please, new government, do all you can to help first-time buyers. Their interest rate payments have increased by 67%, so their mortgage payments have increased by 67% since the last election in 2019. Now, that's a result of two things. Obviously, we've had rising property values and also a rising mortgage rate environment. Wage growth, though, has only gone up 27%. So that is a clear indicator of why it is trickier for first-time buyers to get on the property ladder. When you overlay that as well with increased rental payments, which means they're not able to save as much as they would like for their deposits. That's why the bank of mum and dad has become, or family, has become so popular, but why there are calls to really help those first-time buyers. So June 20th, last week on Radio 4, you might have heard an interesting debate where housing became centre stage of the current general election debate. Conservatives saying that they will hold that stamp duty nil rate band at £425,000 and make it a permanent fixture. Of course, it's due to be dropped next April down to £300,000. Labour is saying that they are going to focus on the rental market and look to help them by putting more pressure on landlords to make their homes energy efficient. So the Conservatives really saying that you're not doing much to help first-time buyers. Labour's feeling that they probably will be, because if they help the rental market where many first-time buyers live, then that will give them more disposable income to save for those deposits. So housing has become a much more central theme in this general election than I've ever seen before, all around helping those first-time buyers. So next week, I'll do my usual vlog on Tuesday, and I'll possibly do a little one on Friday as well when we've got the election to give you my thoughts on the outcome. I could probably record it now, really, couldn't I? But anyway, I will bring you a couple of vlogs next week. Just to quickly say, if you want my thoughts on the general election, the latest edition of Tunbridge Wells Business has come out. I love this magazine. It's got so much great content on it from so many great people in our town, including me. On page 58, you will find my thoughts on what the general election means for the property market. So do pick that up. It's all around town. Look for our wonderful spoken for stands that we're helping support Tunbridge Wells Business with. Anyone wants to chat it through, give me a call. Well, it feels like summer is here at last, doesn't it? Hello, June. Thank you for turning up to the party. So if you would like a more rural property that has beautiful gardens or views to enjoy, how about these three delights that I've got for you? So this one on Glebe Road is on a guide of 675,000. I've just launched it. It's in the Weald, which is a stunningly beautiful village. Obviously really close proximity to Sevenoaks and Hildenborough mainline stations. And the views in the garden from this one are exquisite. A really great property. This second property on the Warren in Mayfield, this would be really great if anyone wants multi-generational living, because it's got really good versatile accommodation both downstairs and up. A lot of space for the money, deceptively spacious, this one on a guide of 1.1, and just the most beautiful quiet location with lovely wraparound gardens. And finally, Birchton Cottage. We've launched this in Groombridge just very recently on a guide of 950,000. Really lovely spacious accommodation, especially in the living areas, and beautifully presented. And again, in that very popular village of Groombridge. So a lovely location. Well, I hope you have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.